We are the Georgia Worship Choir, and we're on a journey to parts unknown. Want to join us? See, we believe there is still a place for choirs in modern worship, and that God still uses choirs to bless people. But with fewer churches having choirs, where is a singer to go? So we're asking the question, is it possible for a community worship choir to exist? Would total strangers with nothing more in common than a love for singing and a love for Jesus come together to form a choir? That's the grand experiment. That's the journey we're on. Come along with us, and together we shall see. Hello, everyone. I'm Dean Oliver, and welcome back to the Georgia Worship Choir podcast. You know, we're asked all the time, so how do you guys do this community worship choir thing? So we thought we'd take an episode where we could answer that question in a conversation that I had with two important people to GWC, and that's my wife, Robin, and our board president, Hope. We sat down recently to cover all the questions that we normally get asked, and it turned into a 90-minute conversation. Now, don't worry, we're not going to hold you here for 90 minutes. We're actually going to split this up into 3 episodes of about 30 minutes or so apiece so that we don't keep you too long in one sitting. We had fun answering these questions, and we hope you'll enjoy our conversation as well. But first, let me mention a couple of programming notes. Number one, we want to apologize for the long delay between the publication of our first set of episodes and this one. We had hoped to be on like a 2-week publication cycle, and we want to get back to that. But the launch of our current season 6, the largest one we've ever had, just hit right after we published those first set of episodes, and we just got busy. So we'll do better. Number 2, please continue to be patient with our technical growing pains. We said that we'd be honest with you and let you watch us build this podcasting plane as we fly it. And that means that we know that there's some audio and visual issues that we're not happy with, and we know that we need to work on those. And hopefully, as we do work on those, you will see progress with each future episode. So let's pause right there and drop into 30 minutes of our conversation, and then I'll come back to wrap things up. See you in a few minutes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Georgia Worship Choir. In this episode, we're going to be talking about how our season functions. We have a lot of people asking us, how do you operate? I mean, what goes into a season? And we'll break all that down. And we just want to drop in on our current season, season 6. And I've got some special guests here. It's our first multi-person podcast, so I feel good because I'm not as alone. And they're here to help me through this. And we're just going to talk about our current season and all the exciting things that are happening. And that way, by the end of this episode, you'll have more of an idea of how the seasons run and operate. You may be thinking about joining Georgia Worship Choir, and hopefully we can answer some questions as we go along. So we're glad that you're here. Thanks for dropping in on this call. I've got 2 wonderful people here. My wife, Robine Oliver, is with us, and I'll tell you more about what Robin does. And the other person we have here is Hope Wingate, and Hope has been with us from the very beginning, first season, and Hope is our board president, and we'll be talking about some changes that we made to our board structure because we're a fully accredited 501c3 nonprofit, registered with the state of Georgia, registered with the federal government. Donations are tax deductible and all that kind of stuff. And so we have to have a fully functioning board and accountability and all those kind of things. So let's just start off with, well, Robin, let's talk about what you do in a typical season. And I tell you what, let me just set the framework to say that we have 2 seasons a year. We have a fall season and a spring season, and we'll get into a little bit of the details of those in just a little bit. But Robin, what do you typically do in a season?
What do I personally do in a season?
Yeah.
Every season that evolves a little bit, but for the most part, every season I help Dean when we begin to recruit people I help with the registration process. I do a lot of behind the scenes admin work, checking emails, checking registration, making sure we have the right contact information for the singers, helping with orientation, which we'll talk about a little bit for the new singers.
Mhm.
And on a typical week, I help a lot with just the setup, the takedown. I'm just a runner during practice, an extra set of hands for Dean or for whoever needs something in the choir. I'm just that backup person to do the odds and ends that aren't assigned to a particular person. Do you say that describes what I do?
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of admin. And in case you haven't listened to our previous episodes, and I encourage you to do that, it'll give you more of an idea, context. None of us are paid. We're all volunteers, and we all have full-time jobs. Robin is a nurse. Hope, you want to tell us what you do in real life?
In real life, I am a homeschooling mother of three, and I am also a biblical counselor part-time, and I do many other things. I'm involved in several other ministries. So
Yep. Yep. And so we've all got other things going on. And so there's a lot of, we'll talk about how we spread the load and spread the work so that it's not overwhelming. But Hope, give us an idea, talk about the seasons and how, because you were with us from the very beginning when we built out the structure. What does a community worship choir, what's that going to look like? What's our calendar going to be? And tell us about our structure right now.
like you said, we have two seasons, one in the fall and one in the spring. We meet for 12 weeks, and the majority of those weeks are rehearsal time. And we meet at Lawrenceville First Baptist Church in Lawrenceville, Georgia, on Sunday evenings. And we usually end each season with 3 concerts. And those concerts are held at different venues, most of them at churches. We hope to add one outside this season, but the majority of them are at partnering churches.
And so why did we set it up in a 2 season format rather than just we sing all year long and maybe we have one period of enrollment? Why did we set it up in a 2 season format?
We understand that seasons are different for
Mm.
families and those who want to be a part of the choir. So we wanted them to feel like it was a family where they could come and go as their availability allowed them to. So if you come for the fall, you're not obligated to sing in the spring and vice versa. And it has really allowed people to seize the opportunity to be a part of it so that they don't feel so overwhelmed. Wow, this is the whole year commitment. Rather, it's mainly 3 or 4 months of commitment at a time. And that makes it much more doable for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's right. And by the way, I should have said this in the beginning. We're still learning this podcast stuff and especially multi-person podcast. And so I have a habit personally, if I'm in real conversation with someone, I say, yeah, yeah. I have a habit of giving positive reinforcement to whoever I'm listening to. So one of the rules of podcasting is don't do that. And don't create those sounds. So I'm working on that. So I found myself saying to Hope, yeah, yeah, that's what we do. I agree with you. I think one of the things that we got right out of the gate was this concept of the 2 season per year concept. And we certainly didn't get everything right out of the gate, but this is one that people love because people's schedules are different. You know, maybe they've got kids in ball in the spring and their schedule is just full. And so they can't sing with us in the spring, but they join us in the fall and vice versa. And then some people sing in both seasons, and that's great too. So once you're in, you're part of the GWC family, and you can go several years in between singing with us if that's what you want to do. But the good thing is every season is standalone. We had one exception to that, and we'll tell you about that later, but every season begins with new music. So the idea is you stay with us for that one season. and then we wrap it all up and we're done. And then we wait 3 months and start again with brand new set of music and all that. So, um, Robin, let's talk about how do we gain new people? Like how do we recruit people? How do people come in? Just kind of go over that with us.
So, on a typical season, the main way we recruit would be word of mouth, of course. Current singers share with their friends and family and invite them. But the biggest way we have found to invite new members, and we have gotten a huge response, is through social media. And we're still learning new ways to make that happen. But we have created Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and that, I would say, has produced the majority of our new singers in the last few seasons. About 6 weeks before a season begins, we will start putting out a Facebook ad that goes out to a certain area. Dean, you might could explain that a little more, but we'll send out a Facebook message that goes out to a general population within a certain radius of where we rehearse. And we've done that on Facebook and Instagram. And I would say 80% of our new singers have shared with us that's how they heard about the choir. Do you want me to talk about orientation also?
Well, let's pause for just a
Okay.
second, though. I think that's been one of the big surprises because we didn't do it in the very, very
No.
beginning. We kind of stumbled on it a little bit in incorporating Facebook ads,
Mhm.
and we were just blown away from the very beginning.
Right.
And people definitely, that is the number one recruitment tool
Mhm.
that we have.
Mhm.
And we typically just do, like, we've had seasons where we had two rehearsal locations. Like there'd be a rehearsal on a Tuesday night in the north part of Atlanta, and then we would have a Gwinnett County location. And if you don't know the area, Gwinnett County is one of the most populous counties in the metro Atlanta area, kind of on the northeast side of Atlanta. And so wherever those rehearsal locations were, we just pulled back and did a 35-mile radius of those areas. And that's where we targeted the ads. And that's how people saw those. And yeah, by far, I mean, probably 5 to 1 or something like that, people come to us by social media. And some of the stories that come from that are neat too. How people have been praying about something to get involved in, or people have moved to Atlanta and they don't know anybody. You remember Tasha?
Mhm.
She moved her family here to Atlanta, didn't know a single soul, and saw us on Facebook and joined us, and we became her first set of new friends here in Atlanta. So thank you, Facebook and Instagram and all
Mhm.
those things. So what do they do if they see our ad to get the ball rolling?
On our ad, we will tell them our worship, GeorgiaWorshipChoir.com is our website. So we have that on all of our Instagram advertisements, Facebook advertisements, and we will tell them to go to the website and there's a link they can click on if they would like to pre-register. We usually have pre-registration open for 3 to 4 weeks prior to the season beginning. And pre-registration is not a written in stone commitment. It's just they want to come check us out. They pre-register, and when they do that, it generates an email that I receive, and it gives me their contact information. And then at that point, after they have pre-registered, we will send them a link and information about orientation. This is something we probably started after maybe the third or fourth season. We began to realize as we were getting new singers, we had to find a way to get them information ahead of the first practice because it was a lot of information. It could be very overwhelming. And we've tried different methods, but this season we had them come to an orientation session a week or two before the launch rehearsal. And during that orientation, we went over different apps that they would use, ways that they're going to receive their music. We gave them a tour of the rehearsal location, made sure they knew where to park. where to come in the building, what to expect when they arrived at rehearsal. And during that, the only requirement we have for a singer, people say, do you have to audition? And we don't really have auditions, but we do require each person to do a pitch matching test. And it's literally 1 or 2 minutes at the piano with Dean, and he may have them sing a few notes after he plays them on the piano. He might have them sing Happy Birthday just to see if they can match pitch, because a lot of our singers, they don't even read music, and that's not a requirement that you can read music. We just need to know that you can match pitch when you hear the song. And most of our singers learn from hearing and from memory, and they cannot actually read the music. And that's been a surprise to some people. And once they come to orientation, we answer a lot of their questions, and they meet some friendly faces from the choir. We usually have a few alumni there, previous singers. We have a couple of board members, and we go over just what a season's like, what to expect. And so when they come that first practice, they have some familiar faces when they walk in the door, and that seems to have helped a lot.
Yeah, and we used to not do that.
Right.
We used to do day of launch orientations. I remember when we first started, I think our orientation was 15 minutes long. And so Hope, tell us about launch rehearsal. What's that like, and why is that so important?
Launch rehearsal is like a party because all of the alumni are so excited to see each other again after a break. We're excited to meet the new people that are coming in. And I'll say one thing about orientation too. Since we've made it a little separate event where you come before, that has really helped even the alumni, because you only need all that information one time. And second season, I remember sitting through all that information again once we'd already had it. So now it's just a much more efficient use of launch rehearsal time, and it allows us to have more fellowship together rather than the bookkeeping or the housekeeping aspects of joining the choir. So launch is like a block party. You join together. We're all excited about all this music that Dean has been keeping a secret now for months and months.
I'm going to say something about that in a minute.
Everybody wants to know what the songs are this season. And they also want to know if he picked one that they suggested on our Discord platform. And so it's a lot of hype, a lot of energy. And it's even a lot of energy from the new people, even though they may be nervous or shy. They have such a charisma about them coming in because it's all so new, and they just are soaking it all in. And it also helps the alumni re-energize and get back into the groove of meeting each week. So it's really great.
Yeah. And we joke about the whole investigative activity that goes on trying to find out what music is going to be introduced at launch rehearsal. I even had one of our singers try to hack into my Spotify account to try to find out what songs we were going to do. And we had a big laugh about that. And of course she was unsuccessful. And how many songs do we do, Hope, typically?
13 to 15 songs each season. So we sometimes have one repeat, whether it's the doxology or a alumni favorite has become One Day, which is when we all get to heaven. And so it's really exciting to get to some of the songs we know. Some of the songs are really modern and we hear them on the radio, and some of them Dean pulls out of a cantata book from the 1980s probably, but it's still so good.
Yeah. A good song's a good song, no matter when it is, right?
Yes.
And who is the composer of that One Day When We All Get to Heaven song?
Oh wow, he's putting us on the spot.
Why are you putting me on the spot?
Who is the composer?
Because I have totally forgot.
I don't
My
know.
brain has gone blank.
He's
Okay, well,
really
I have my music right here.
Yeah, he's the English guy. He's the English Chris Tomlin. Why are we forgetting that?
Are we supposed to know this?
wow.
This is totally
That was
getting
trivia.
cut out.
Yes.
Cut this out.
Are we supposed to learn the composers?
No, I don't test you
Eliza
over that.
Hewitt,
No, it's oh my
Leonard
gosh.
Jarman,
No.
Beth Redmond, Matt
Matt
Redmond.
Redman.
Matt Redman.
Oh my
Oh my
goodness.
gosh.
Wow. You really
You should
threw
have
us
said
for a loop.
10,000 reasons.
Hey,
We're
I
like-
don't feel bad. Y'all didn't know either. So there.
That's your
No,
fault.
I totally.
I had no idea to prep for that.
Okay, so this is how my brain works at this time of day. As y'all were talking about that, I wanted to interject. Yeah, the one day when we all get to heaven by Matt, and I wanted to say Matt LeBlanc, and,
No,
and he's one of the Friends cast.
that's
right?
the Friends actor.
So I thought, no, that's not right. Oh my gosh, we may cut
That's
this. We may just chop.
Yeah, I
all
think we need to cut this out
whole
Yes.
section
Mhm.
off.
because Hope
this
and
will
I
be a
had
part
very
of-
blank looks on our face when you're like, "Who is the composer of One Day?" We're like, "What?"
This will be a
That
part
is
of
not
our,
on my chart.
No,
This will be a part of our blooper reel, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Matt Redman. So Matt, if you're listening, I am so sorry, brother. I listen to your
Shout
music.
out.
Shout out to Matt Redman. I listen to your music all the time. I just had a brain blip. So yeah, launch rehearsal is just like a party. You're right. And while we're here talking about the new people and the new energy, Hope, tell everybody what we did last season. And the jury's out on whether or not we want to do that again. So what did we do?
So for our 5th season, we had an alumni only season where you had to have sung in the choir one season prior to being able to return for the 5th season. And we did a poll of all of our previous music, and the choir basically got to vote on what songs were going to be a part of the program for that season. So 13 or 15 songs made the cut, and it was, like you said, it was a journey of repetitiveness, I guess. Revisiting those songs, some even from first season, but I've said before that it was a real treasure because some of those songs, when you're required to sit with them for that much longer, it's like the Lord really impacts you in a deeper way. He meets you in a deeper place because it required you to really listen and lean in to hear what he was trying to speak through those songs. And it's always uncanny, no matter what songs you pick throughout the seasons, everyone can testify that there's always one song that was perfect for them that season, that really encouraged them, helped them through a rough time, and brought them closer to the Lord. So it was a really special time. It allowed the alumni to bond closer together and make fellowship make more friendships, I think. But it also was hard in the sense of we were very familiar with the music. So there was a slack in practicing.
yes,
I was waiting to see what word you chose.
Yes. There was I know that song. I don't need to rehearse my part. And then we get to rehearsal and we're drilling parts on the piano that should have been known several seasons ago. So it was definitely a challenge for our memory and motivation. And so we'll see if season 10 gets an alumni season as well.
Yeah, I think it was definitely, we got some good positive response from singers and the audience of enjoying hearing those songs again. And there were still in that group, and I think we ended up with what, Robin, 50 or so in that?
An average
Yeah.
low 50s.
So for context, we've had, I don't know what our number is now. We're not quite at 200, but we've had around 175 individuals over the last 6 seasons who have participated, who've made it as far as a concert. So 175 people are alumni to our effort. And so there was still, even coming back to the old music, there was a lot of learning that needed to take place because some of the people just joined us in season 4, and we pulled music from seasons 1 through 3, and they had to learn all that. I think the only downside to the alumni season was just the lack of the new people. Just the lack of that energy.
energy.
Yeah, the energy and the excitement, and because it's like when new people join, it's like Christmas morning. It's like seeing the kids with their toys, and we remember. Oh yeah, that's what it was like to come into this thing new and fresh. So, all right, let's get back to our outline here. So Robin, tell us about this season. How many people pre-registered approximately?
In the very beginning?
Yeah, just our total pre-registrants for this season. How many?
Before they dropped off?
Right.
We had about 140, I would say, pre-register in the very beginning, and that included alumni and new singers. We probably had 140 in the beginning. You want me to give the breakdown of how that played out?
No, I'm going to let Hope talk about what we ended up with.
Okay.
So 100, and that was our largest pre-registration period. And that was fun seeing how people came in. But Hope, we ended up with what? Finishing the orientation process and making it to that first rehearsal. How many did we have?
95 made the commitment, took the plunge.
That's right. And where did they come from?
Those 95 are coming from 9 different metro Atlanta counties, and they're representing 50 different churches.
That's what's amazing.
Yeah.
And Robin, you will know, out of that 95, how many were brand new? Because I know they outnumbered the alumni. We
had about a little over 50 brand new people and around 40, 42 alumni.
Yeah. So we had drop off. We always have drop off people. And we tell them, like Hope said in the beginning, we tell them, look, if you have even the slightest thought that you might want to sing with us, go ahead and pre-register, so that it gets you on the mailing list and we get information to you. And so we know that not everyone is going to sign up. And a lot of people, the vast majority of people that don't show up end up emailing us and telling us the reason why, whether it's, hey, I wanted to join you guys so bad. I'm so sorry. Work, family. And we don't ask them to give us a reason, but they just volunteer the reason. And then one of the biggest reasons is distance. We only have one rehearsal location now on the northeast part of town. And I've told other people, we have had so many people from all other parts of Atlanta say, if you were only a little bit closer, if you had a rehearsal location inside the perimeter, we would come join you, and we would probably double, if not triple, in size. And so we're working on that. We're working on future locations because that is an issue. So Hope, when and where do we rehearse now? Let's talk about our kind of our home base right now. Where is that?
So we have one rehearsal a week on Sundays in the afternoons, and we meet at Lawrenceville First Baptist Church in Lawrenceville, Georgia. What time?
What times?
4:30 through 6:30.
That's correct, Hope.
You didn't say there was going to be a quiz.
I know.
Hey, 4:30 to 6:30, and that seems to be really working well. Gets people out before dinner time, really, and so for some people, the distance is great because they live in Gwinnett County and we're close by. I want to just give a shout out to Lawrenceville First Baptist Church because they are so gracious as a host, and it's a perfect facility for what we do, and so we appreciate that. Okay, guys, we're going to pause the conversation and we'll pick up right there in our next episode. Thank you again for joining us today. And as we end, I'd like to ask you to do two things while you wait on the next episode to drop. Number one, go back and watch or listen to our intro trailer and the other two episodes so that you'll have more context for the remaining parts of this conversation. And number two, go to our website, georgiaworshipchoir.com, to follow our progress, sign up for our newsletter, and see when and where our concerts will be in just a couple of months. So until we connect again, keep singing.